Hello all. So this session is going to be about exploring show me option, which is there in your Tableau. I do not know what we have gained so far throughout our life, but definitely um, during these past years, what we didn't have was data. But right now, what we currently have is a lot of data. And we wanted to ask so many questions with respect to the data. And we want to gain some insights with the data. And also we wanted to get an answer to all of these questions that we have it in our mind about the data. So in this process of finding an answer to the questions relative to the data, one very important thing probably, or you could say that I could probably say as a tool, which is playing a very, very significant role in getting the insights from the data that we have so much of data is that definitely charts and graphs. We know very well visualization plays a very, very significant role. And we have discussed about how visualization is taking a lot of importance. We have discussed all of these things in our previous sessions. But here, I just wanted to dedicatedly speak about the charts and the graphs, because that's the starting point for any visualization, in fact. So getting to know detailedly about what you can do with the different types of charts and the graphs which is available in your Tableau would be a really great added advantage, because of the reason you will be in a position to identify easily for what type of use cases or for what type of scenarios I need to follow which type of a chart. So this is the idea basically. So as I'm talking about charts and graphs in this session, exploring the show me, definitely you could have got an idea that this particular option is something which is dealing with the graphs and the charts. Without any further delay, let's get started with the exploring show me. First of all, what is the show me option which is there in your Tableau? Very simple. Anything that you pick up from your data pane. What you will pick up from your data pane, obviously you will pick up some kind of fields which from the data pane. You pick up a data fields from your data pane, and then you place it in your row or your column shelves. Immediately what you get is a view, right? So show me this, it'll allow you to create a view for any type of fields that you're getting selected from your data pane. So that's the way I can informally define what is the meaning of a show me. All right. So what do I mean by view here? Of course, view is nothing but the charts and the graphs which I am talking about. Now, show me as an option has lots and lots of charts. Nearly 24 types of charts are there. All right. So we will try to understand the common charts that we generally make use of it. Of course, I will not be in a position. I will not be in a position to explain each and every one of the chart, but however, I'll just give you an overview of the different types of charts which is available. So let's get started. We will get inside our Tableau environment to understand, like, how the show me is working basically. Yeah. So now I'm there inside my Tableau environment. You can see here, this is a superstore data sources available. And I have tables, which is my orders table is available already there. Now, what we are going to explore today is that we are just going to explore about the show me option. Okay. Show me is it's a kind of, as you can see there, you see a lot of charts which is displayed over here, and all of them by default is disabled, just because of the reason that we haven't placed anything into our column or our row shells, right? So any absence of data fields is there. So that's the reason all of these charts are displayed. First of all, what is the advantage of using a show me, right? So the advantage is very clear. One thing is, see, as you hover over these type of charts, right? So as I kept my mouse pointer over here, it is giving me some explanation. What explanation it is giving me is that the type of chart which is a text table chart, and if I have to draw a text table chart, I need two things. One is I can have at least minimum, I should have one dimension and one measure, and I can have more than that as well. So if anybody would like to make use of any type of charts, they need to understand what type of data fields or what type of data fields should be there for drawing this graph. Suppose, for example, as I hover down, you can now see a symbol map, right? For a symbol map, if I have to put my data, or if I wanted to represent my data in the form of a symbol map, definitely I need a geo dimension, and also I need, one geo dimension is a must. Apart from that, you can have one dimension, or if you do not have a dimension also, that is absolutely no problem. And then if you do not have any measures also, no problem. But then it's compulsory that you need to have a geo dimension. Okay, so let's hover over, and you can see that this is a horizontal bar. So if I have to draw a horizontal bar, what is expected from Tableau is that you need to have at least one measure. So let us just try. Okay, so now what we have here is basically a sales is a measure, right? So I just keep this measure. Okay, so what do I get is, okay, so yeah, you can see here now, right? It is a horizontal chart, it is drawing. All right, so this is the meaning of it. So you, as you hover over each of the chart, you can understand what type of chart it is, and also what is the minimum criteria that is required if you wanted your data to be represented in the form of this particular chart. You will get an idea of all of these things with the show me option. So probably I could say that this is the advantage of having a show me option. Okay, and not only that, see, if you would I'm just removing these things. Okay, say for example, I'm just keeping one dimension and one measure into my columns and the row shelf. Okay, say for example, I'm just keeping my sales in my rows. Where is my sales? Yeah, I'm just keeping my rows here, and then let me just keep maybe an order date. I'll keep it here. Okay, once I have kept my dimension and measure, you can see here some charts are enabled. What is the meaning of it is that, see, with one dimension and one measure which is in place, you are allowed to make use of these different types of charts, which means I can view my data in any of these forms of charts. So depending upon which chart will be more usable for you, you can choose on the corresponding chart. But this is one more advantage of having a show me option. Okay, so I'm just removing this one now. Let me just remove this. Okay. Okay. So one more thing I just wanted to show it to you. Suppose if I will keep this order date first, what I'm getting a textual data, and the same sales I will put it. Okay, I've put the order and the sales. Now the type of chart basically started was in the form of your text. Okay, so that's also you should remember it. Okay, now fine. So we have got an idea that, okay, using show me, these are the advantages that I'm getting. All right, now show me is having a lot of charts. I will not be in a position to decide on what chart I need to use for which use case. So this rule is definitely it. You cannot frame a rule to, say that this is the type of chart that you can use it for your use case. We definitely cannot frame a rule. However, because it's absolutely dependent upon what type of use cases you are working with and how you wanted your data to be displayed, right? So it's absolutely dependent, or it is absolutely custom defined. However, you can actually have certain idea. Okay, so that idea will help you to choose what type of chart. Maybe if I will put this type of chart for this kind of data, I can make a better visualization. So this is kind of guidelines probably. So this guidelines is what we are going to see now. First of all, the very basic chart that most of us will use is the bar chart. Okay, so bar chart is something which we will be using it whenever we wanted to show some outliers, or we wanted to highlight some differences between categories. If you wanted to show it, most of the time we end up using something called as a bar chart, right? So this is a very common kind of chart that we most oftenly use. So, but when exactly the bar chart is does make sense? Bar chart really makes sense when we have to deal with a data which is having categories. Say, for example, I'm keeping a profit, okay, and I just wanted to understand category wise a profit I just wanted to understand, or probably a region wise profit I just wanted to understand. Okay, so you can understand this using your bar graph. Okay, so most of the time your dimension would be in the form of a category. So category wise you try to find out the profit. So region wise I'm trying to find out the profit. So for my central region, this is one category. For this category the profit is it has made is 40. Okay, so you with this you can identify who is having the highest, which category is having the highest profit. So this will be a very very low level kind of visualization that we use it if we wanted to get a clear picture about what are the differences between these categories, like from this to this, what is the difference if I have to find out. And bar chart will be really really useful. All right, so that's one thing. So all of you must remember that when I have to deal with a bar chart, most of the time I prefer bar chart if I have my data in the form of categories. So what other options show me is giving is that you can even represent that as in the form of a text data, or in the form of your table. Okay, so this is the way it is going to represent it, or I can use this way also. Okay, you can show with which one is having the highest sale, what is the second highest. With this format also I can display, or in a map also I can show it. Okay, so I can show it in my map as well. Okay, so yeah, so it is showing me the region wise, like west it has got this kind of thing. So all of these things could be used. However, bar chart is something which is preferred when you have to deal with a categorical form of data which is there with you. All right, so that's one thing that I wanted to show to all of you, first thing. Then the second commonly used type of chart is basically your line chart. So line chart is something which most of us generally use, or generally we deal with the line chart. Okay, so when do we use a line chart is that when we wanted to connect several distinct data points are there, and you wanted to connect and show it as a continuous continuous line or something, then you preferably use something called as a line chart. But when exactly we can make use of line chart? Okay, if you will have a category, line chart is automatically disabled. So when a line chart is going to be enabled means when you have a dimension which is in the form of an order date. Okay, and then as per the date you wanted to see the sales or something, profit or sales, anything you wanted to see it. Okay, so that time the basic, Tableau itself, according to this query language that it uses, it automatically giving you an option to create a line chart. Okay, so you need to understand that, like whenever I'm going to deal with a date kind of dimensions, so line chart is the preferable form of representation. Okay, so that's one more idea that I wanted to give it to you. And apart from that, you can also use your area charts. Okay, and box chart also could be used, and then bubbles also could be used. Okay, so you can understand that, okay, when I have dimensions in this manner, what type of charts generally is getting disabled. You don't have to spend a lot of time to understand these things, because as you know, Tableau is automatically giving you these options, so you don't have to worry about it. But you will have specific cases where you need to decide on certain things. That time this idea is going to be helpful for you. So this is one idea that I wanted to give you, that is your line chart. So most commonly used charts are the bar charts and the line chart, and you know very well when to use the what chart. Now I will speak about my area chart as well, because it's somewhat similar to what we have seen in a line chart, right? See, area chart is something which we will be using it whenever we have to, deal with a quantitative value, and that quantitative value is going to change over a period of time. Okay, so for example, if I have to tell you, maybe my dimension is order date. Okay, as per the order date, I just wanted to find out, like, how much quantity is there. Okay, and then automatically it is giving me a line chart. Okay, but I just wanted to understand region wise. Okay, so I just put this in my marks card, and then you can see it is giving me a 4 line. So now I will color code it, so you can see that it is, uh, it is getting displayed with different colors as a line chart. But then if I wanted to, maybe like, if I will select my area chart, then you can understand that for a region, this value is getting changed, right? So this value is changing, right? So that's the meaning of it. So it is a quantitative value which is changing over a time. So when you have to represent that, absolutely, like, there is, you do not find much difference between your area chart and your line chart. However, the variation between this area chart and then the line chart is this, in this manner it is. Okay, so I have shown you what is the meaning of your area chart. Now, another very interesting chart that we most of the time we make use of is the histogram chart. I hope that all of us would have made use of this histogram chart at least once in our lifetime, at least to understand the performance on an exam. Like, if you want to understand how a student has performed on an exam, if you have to find out, you basically make use of a histogram. Or you wanted to identify the frequency of a product defect, if you wanted to identify that also, you just make use of a histogram, right? So all of these things could be identified very clearly. The examples says you what is the meaning of a histogram. However, across distinct groups, how your data is going to be grouped, okay, or how your data is distributed across your distinct groups. If you have to see that, then you will make use of something called as a histograms. So if I will just keep my measure discount, okay, so what type of chart I'm going to get it? I'm not going to I have two things enabled for me. One is my bar chart, another one is my histogram. Okay, so this is the way. So you can see that histogram is being drawn with the count of the discount. Okay, so you can understand that histogram is something which could be drawn only with one measure. Okay, so you have only one measure. With one measure you can make a histogram. Okay, so for all of these things, a histogram is really, really useful. And what else we have? We have a pie chart, right? So pie chart is also another form of chart which you will find it in most of the presentations, in fact. Okay, so generally a pie chart doesn't work independently, but then you can, if you wanted to add a detail to other visualization segment, you can actually make use of your pie charts. So let me just put the segment here and the sales here. Okay, so now what are the charts which has been enabled for me is all of these charts. So if I could click on a pie chart, you can understand, right? So segment wise, it is showing me the sales. Okay, so this is one and another way, and this is a tree map. And most of us have, we have had a separate session wherein I have discussed about tree maps in detail. So however, just to remember, if you have different segments of a data, you have a whole data, and for that complete whole data you have different segments of data, then you will use the tree map kind of thing. And one more thing that you make use of is actually your scatter plot, right? Scatter plot is also something that we commonly make use of it. And this is actually one of the sensible way actually to give some kind of trends or concentrations and outliers, which requires some kind of attention Okay, you wanted to show that some kind of attention needs to be there for this particular data point. You just wanted to show that. Most of the time we end up using a scatter plot. For example, in this pandemic, if you wanted to analyze on whether the blood type is having an effect in the a number of infections which is happening in for the people, like uh, you say that O positive group of people has lesser infections compared to A positive. So if you wanted to show this kind of concentrations or kind of outliers, if you have to show it in your chart, then probably we will make use of something called as a scatter plot. Okay, so say for example, I will just put my discount. Where is my discount? Yeah, discount is my measure, which I'm going to put it in my column. And then I'm going to put my sales, which is again a measure. Okay, so I have put down my discount and my sales. What you get is I mean, it's actually a scatter plot. And maybe I just wanted to analyze this based on a region probably. So I'll just analyze it based on the region. So you get a plot point like this. Okay, so you can, I mean, this is the way you can make use of your scatter plot. And what other options we have is that you have one more side by side circles also, you can use it. All right, so these are this is the way you can actually make use of your scatter plot. And scatter plot is something which is usable at the situations where I spoke about. So for your scatter plot, again, if you wanted to add more detail to your scatter plot or to your maps, if you wanted to add more detailing, generally we will make use of your bubble charts. Okay, so bubble chart will add a little bit more detail to your scatter. See, for example, in your scatter itself, like this is having the highest sales or something like that. So it is adding more detail to the scatter which we have made. So that's the way you can make use of your bubble chart. And maps is something which you will use it generally when we have a geo kind of data. So for example, if I have my states, I'll just put my state. This itself will take care of drawing a state-wise sales. I just wanted to find out a state-wise sales. So what I will have is a map basically. So you can actually analyze that region wise. And if you wanted to do a size changing, you can do a size changing. And then you want to add a label, you just add the label. So you can identify which are the states which is there. And you wanted to do a coloring, that also could be done. Okay, so this is the way you will make use of your maps. Okay, so I hope that you have got a different idea about the different types of commonly used charts which is there in your Tableau. As I said, we cannot frame a rule kind of thing to adopt. This is the chart for this is the rule. No, we cannot do that. However, depending upon the use cases which you're working and which visualization is looking appealing for you, based on that, you should be able to choose the right type of chart so that your presentation is going to become more efficient. Not only that, the insights that you are able to give it to the data on your visualization should make your visualization more meaningful. So to achieve this, what we need to have is the complete idea about the different types of charts. All right, so that's what we have tried exploring in this session. Okay, so it has definitely this show me is actually an option which has guided us to do a better visualization. All right, so I hope you got an idea about the show me option. So that's all for this session. Thank you. I'll see you in the next session on how do you save and share the work in Tableau. Thank you.